Hey guys, Ernie here and welcome to the Paleo Hiker MD channel. Stoves from the company Firebox have really been my favorite for many years. That's no surprise. If you follow the channel, you know that I have pretty much every stove that Firebox offers. So when they released their Firebox Scout Emergency Stove, I was pretty excited, and even more excited when Steve from Firebox sent me a message and said, hey, do you want to try this thing out before everybody else gets it? Put it through its paces. So that's what I've done, and I've had a great time using it. Now, the Firebox Scout is an emergency stove. That's exactly what Steve designed it to be, and we're going to use it today as an emergency stove. So stay tuned. We're going to cook an emergency meal on this awesome little stove. Thanks for watching, guys. The world is a crazy place. It's probably about as crazy as it's ever been in my lifetime. Now, I know there's been a lot of craziness over the years, different world wars, civil rights, lots of things that have led to a lot of unrest, but it certainly feels that way right now as well. Because of that, the concept of preparedness or self-reliance, whatever you want to call it, has been very popular recently, and it's something that I have really worked on over the last 10 or 12 years. I was always interested in being prepared, but once I became a father and I had children to take care of, I realized that I really wanted to be ready for anything. Part of that, of course, is being prepared at home and getting things together that I need in an emergency. Now, certainly you can collect food and water for years. You can build a bunker if you want to, whatever it is, but ultimately you're going to have multiple layers of preparedness, not just huge stores of food, not just huge volumes of water. From the standpoint of food, I think you have a couple of different options. There certainly is room for dehydrated meals. They're very popular, but they're also very expensive. And you can only store so much. I mean, you can get online and order a year's worth or 2 years worth, but literally, if you're really preparing for something catastrophic, you're going to need a lot more than just that. You can also buy food in bulk. You can buy large quantities of staple foods like flour and rice, put them inside of Mylar bag, along with the oxygen absorbers, and seal them up and put them in 5-gallon buckets. I've got plenty of that as well. I actually have plenty of both dehydrated meals and the large 5-gallon buckets. But we also keep a very well-stocked pantry at all times. Usually about once a month, I'll go to the grocery store and I'll just buy pantry items that we need to keep in place all the time. Obviously, you can't store years worth of canned goods, but having at least a month or 6 weeks of food readily available in your house can really help short term, especially like power outages, storms, things like that. That's what we're talking about today. So today we're gonna cook a simple meal. I'm out at a beautiful house in Arkansas on Norfolk Lake right behind me, and I've got some canned goods. The theory of this is if we have some staple stuff in our pantry and we want to make something really fast, we can use this emergency Firebox Scout and make what I call an emergency meal. All canned goods, all shelf stable, and you can make a meal that's pretty tasty that your kids will even like. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when you go to the grocery store and they're out of something, can you ask them to go out back and see if they have some more? You can't, because there is no out back. Okay, there might be some meat in the back, but there's no goods in the back. And the reason is simple. Everything they have is out on the shelves. And it's pretty well known that if supply chains break down, whether it be gas or just the inability of people to travel, you're going to run out of food in most grocery stores in 2 or 3 days. Probably more like a day if people freak out, which is what normally happens. We have lots of hurricane scares in Louisiana, and several times a year you'll go and there'll be no bread, no batteries, no milk, you know, the basics. Every single time that happens, I'm so thankful that my wife and I prepare. I may end up going to the grocery store just to buy a couple of little things if I need them, but I really don't need them. That's just to short things up if we happen to not have a few things that we want, but we always have plenty at the house. Now, when I was a kid, my mom used to make this thing called chicken a la king, and let me tell you, I felt like a king when I ate it. I don't know what about it, just made it feel really, really fancy. You can make that very easily. We're going to use some flour and baking powder to make some simple Bannock, basically just some fried bread. Then we're going to make chicken a la king out of all canned goods, super easy and actually very, very tasty. Now, there are a lot of ways to use the Firebox Scout. We're going to do this. We have an entire fire puck at the bottom there. If you flip it over like this and put it, you're not limiting air into these holes, and that's going to make it burn a lot faster. I want a nice slow burn. So we're going to do it like that. I also want quite a bit of heat, or as much heat as I can get out of it to make the bannock, to fry the bannock. So we're going to use the cross stand. That will get our frying pan up away and allow a little more oxygen. I already made some bannock here. This is just flour, baking powder, salt, oil, and water. Very simple. So we're going to try to make a few little cakes. So let me get this thing started. One thing about this fire puck is that it really is smoky. There's no way around it. And that's why I kind of favor using wood pellets. But for this, we're going to use that fire puck. Move y'all a little bit. We are going to use the Firebox Ultra Cook Kit. We'll use this to fry our bannock in. You can see the black smoke. It is pretty heavy on the soot. But if you're using this in an emergency situation and you want to keep around a couple of really easy sources of fuel, you do this. We're going to go ahead and put this on top. Let me raise y'all up a little bit. We're going to add a good amount of oil because we want to basically pan fry this bannock. To kind of recreate, I always had chicken a la king on toast. To kind of recreate that, we're going to just do some small flat pieces of bannock. One thing I would recommend you do is just put some oil on your fingers. Nice, kind of lube your hands up here, because you're never going to be able to get these blobs of bannock off if they're not oiled. There's one. I don't think we have room for one more, a little small one here on the back. Here we go. Let's see what happens. Well, we're starting to get things going a little bit. As usual, I got a little excited and put the bannock on too quickly. Should have let it get nice and hot. See if you guys can see. Nice flame. I did put a little piece of wood on the back bottom here just to kind of level it out a little bit. It could be even farther. In fact, you know what? We're going to do that. It's good to be kind of as level as possible. Pan fried bread, basically. I'm going to be patient, and I'm going to let this cook till I think it's really pretty brown. And for something like this, I actually don't think that the entire fire puck is overkill, because we're going to be cooking probably for about 20 minutes at least, maybe 30 minutes. So we'll see whether that fire puck lasts the whole time or not. I have more just in case. All right, let's see what we got. Flip this over. All right. They're going to be probably kind of greasy because the way that I did it, just this impatience, but nonetheless, very nice, crispy. Those are going to be pretty good with our chicken a la king. Let's finish these off, and then we're going to make our chicken. You can see they're nice and firm. Exactly what we're looking for. Probably more than I can eat, but nonetheless, they got a little bit bigger after we cooked them. So there they are. Ingredients, or the directions for the chicken, is pretty simple. You dump everything in. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to start. Oh, look at that. Cream of chicken soup. Peas. Pimentos. And of course, chicken. I drained this chicken. And last, I'm going to add the whole thing of mushrooms because I like mushrooms. There you go. Now we just kind of have to wait for this to catch up and heat it all through. But in a pinch, these are ingredients that you can easily keep. These are things we always have in our pantry. We favor fresh mushrooms. We favor fresh peppers and peas, all that stuff. But sometimes there's no time for that. But this is an awesome meal. Look at that. You could eat it just like that. This is almost like you could put this inside of a pot pie or something. My goodness gracious. Anyway, now we're going to use this on top as a cover, try to help it get a little bit warmer faster. And we'll be back after it starts to get nice and warm. I'm going to put some of this stuff away and clean up a little bit. We'll check on this real quick. Take our lid off. Starting to really get nice and warm. And that's all you have to do. I mean, one of the beauties of this, this is an emergency meal because it doesn't require anything. It tastes a lot like a Mountain House meal, to tell you the truth. It's pretty good. In case you're wondering how our fire puck is going, let's take a look. Well, you can see it actually. Y'all can see it. I can see it in the camera lens. It's doing just fine. I'm saying another 5 minutes and we'll be ready to eat. All right, guys, I think I hear it. Oh yeah, there we go. And be careful because you'll easily get it stuck. But that's it. I mean, it's just a matter of getting it warmed through and we've got lunch. So again, imagine that situation where your kids are hungry, something major has gone wrong, maybe there's been a huge storm that's knocked out power to everything, grocery stores are out of food. It doesn't take very much to get to that situation, and you want to be able to provide for your family and provide them something that they're going to want to eat. It tastes pretty decent. Now this thing isn't gourmet, but it's not bad, and it's definitely, I think my kids would eat it, minus the red and green stuff. Now this quick video is designed to show you how effective the Scout is in an emergency situation. Today we used the fire puck. Like I said in the video, I actually prefer using wood pellets. They're a lot less messy. This fire puck will get things very full of soot, so just be prepared. If you want to cook inside, you can use a gas canister stove, you can use an alcohol stove. Either of those things will work very well. You also could see that even though it took a little while for the heat to build up, and I was a little impatient in getting my Bannock into the pot, it builds up heat pretty quickly and you can cook very easily with this setup. It's probably easier just to use the transient instead of mess with the fire puck or even the wood pellets. But you may not always have alcohol, and you're pretty much always going to have some type of debris outside that you can burn in this Scout. Now, if you want a full detailed review of the Scout, including all the different fuel options you have with it, I'll leave a link down below and maybe up here in the cards if I remember. You guys can check that out. Every time I do a video on a wood stove, I get all these comments, can somebody explain to me the fascination with wood stoves? The key to Firebox stoves is that they're more than wood stoves. They're kind of multi-tools of the stove world. They're designed, all of them, to use with multiple fuel options, and this particular one gives you the option to use many types of fuel in an emergency. By designing this Scout with multiple fuel uses in mind, Firebox really has created a stove that is diverse and can fit pretty much any situation that you can put it in. Yes, at its core, the Scout is a wood stove, but it is so much more. Do me a big favor, guys. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up. It really does help things spread across YouTube, and it helps my channel grow. I don't need any donations or anything like that. Just a thumbs up would be awesome. I have an entire playlist on stoves, so make sure you check that down below. I also have reviews on pretty much all the Firebox products. If you're interested in any of the other stoves, like the Gen 2 5-inch models or the Nanos, I have reviews on all those. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscription button, and if you want to make sure you don't miss any videos, hit the notification bell and you will be the first to know. You see the lake behind me? I'm going to go and see if I can catch something. As always, guys, I appreciate you checking out the Paleo Hiker MD channel. Stay tuned for more videos soon.